Hello everyone and welcome to my new video on stock market. In this video, I'll be discussing a very interesting question, that is the stock market crash coming or not? Because many news are telling that okay, stock market crash is coming. On various YouTube channels you see that stock market crash is coming. So you are hearing this news everywhere. Now you are in dilemma that whether I should sell the stock and be in the cash, or should I average out my stock that I already have. So which one I should follow, right? So I will be discussing about that here. And also I will discuss with some data, like some data to back it up, like whatever view I am giving, I will also have some data to back it up. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel and keep supporting me in making this type of videos. And before I move forward, I will again I will like to put some disclaimers here that I mean this video is only for the long-term investors, like who are in the market for long term, like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I usually consider 10 years as long term, even not 5 years. And I do not trade in the stock market. So do not ask me like what is the target price for this stock or anything, because I do not trade. I only invest for long term now. Maybe in the future, if I have some interest, I do will put some videos on trading, but till now I do not have any interest. And yeah, this crash coming, right? Everywhere you are seeing this, right? On every news channel, newspapers, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere you go, I mean, you are seeing this news. So I will ask you some questions now, right? Like whether you can time the market or not. So basically you are trying to time the market, right? So if you are trying to sell your stocks and keep in cash for some time and buy the stocks when the market recovers, basically you are trying to time the market. So I will ask you some questions. So this COVID crash happened, right? In around in Feb it happened, right? Feb 20 around. And the market fell to close to 40% in 1 month. So did you, I mean, so let's say you were there and you were asked to guess this, like, okay, will this crash happen? So what will you answer? Okay, you would have thought that, okay, Corona is coming, coronavirus is there. So, okay, it will crash. Lockdown is coming, it will crash. But do you know by how much it will crash? So how will you guess that by how much it will crash? It crashed by 40% in 30 days. And actually, in the history of Indian stock market, I mean, this type of crash was never seen. I mean, stock markets have crashed 30, 40, 50, 60%. But within 30 days, around 40% crash was never seen almost in stock market. So nobody knew that this type of crash will happen. Okay, people knew that, okay, it will take some time, crash will happen slowly, slowly, but not so quickly. Okay, once the crash happened, now let's say crash happened. So will you able to guess the bottom of this crash? I mean, okay, when this basically the bottom will be formed and the stock will again start rising. Let's say again you guessed it right that okay, now stock will start rising, but by how much stock will rise, right? So it has, so after the actually the bottom was formed, I think the stocks are up almost like 30% now, I think close to. Now you do not know, right, by how much it will be up. So what you will do, you will buy at the maybe at the dip maybe and sell at 20% or maybe 10% itself, maybe 5% itself you will sell, right? And you will keep on doing this, right? And I will discuss the disadvantage of this approach later. And even a 2008 crash, in 2008 crash, this was just 40% crash. In 2008, markets crashed by 60%, right? So maybe somebody would have guessed that okay, market will crash by 20%, maybe 30, then maybe 40, then 50, then 60 it happened, right? So it's not easy to guess these all numbers. You may be able to predict that okay, crash will happen, but how much? And also you do not know when the market will again start rising. So it's very tough to predict this. So actually there are professional economists whose actually job is to basically predict the movements of, stock market. So their job is actually, so they are paid for this. I mean, they do not, I mean, they actually are not able to predict it correctly most of the time. So let's say out of 10 occasions, they only predict it correct, let's say 1 or 2 times or 3 times, right? 7 times they fail. Then what chance do we have, we amateur investors, right? What chance do we have predicting like, okay, stock market will go down, will go up, right? So I will now suggest you with some numbers, like why rupee averaging works better than buy the dip approach in long term. That's important in the long term. In the short term, I do not have any idea. So this can work. You buy a dip and sell a dip, keep predicting, this may work. I'm not telling it may not work. I'm just telling it's very tough to predict. And if you are a very, I mean, maybe you are very professional and you are getting like from 10 calls, you get 7, 8 calls, right? Maybe. So Peter Lynch actually, okay, I'm discussing about like, okay, how if we basically average your stocks, right, when it falls and do keep on doing SIP in those stocks, how it will benefit you. So Peter Lynch in his book, I think this was in Learn to Earn, I think. So he mentions that. So if you have put dollar, it's like, I think 1 lakh, right? Once, tens, 100,000, yeah, dollar 1 lakh in stocks on July, I mean, first 1994 and stayed fully invested for 5 years. So you would have put the money on that date, this money, and fully invested. You are fully invested till 5 years. Your basically 1 lakh dollars will be converted to grew. It will grew into dollar 3,41,722. But let's say that's almost 3x returns, 3x bagger stock. But if you were out of the stock for just 30 days over this time period from 1994 to next 5 years, if you're out for just 30 days, then I mean, basically on this 30 days, the most of the gains actually happened in this time period on these 30 days. So if you're out on these 30 days, your, I mean, returns, I mean, your returns will be basically dollar 1,53,000 something, right? So it almost gets half, right? By what you would have done if you had been in the market for that much time. So by staying just by staying in the market and not timing the market, you more than doubled your reward, right? I will give some more examples to explain you the same. So this was from 1994. Another example from Peter Lynch's book is, so this is from 5 stage in 1980s. So stock price gained around 26% a year. So CAGR around 26% from 1980 to 1985 maybe. Now, disciplined investors, so basically who follow the SIP approach, who stuck to the plan, doubled their money and then some. Maybe some doubled, some maybe 1.5 times, some maybe 2.2 times, right? It depends on like how they did this SIP. But they gained good amount of money, right? Let's say somebody would have earned 26%, somebody would have got 20%, somebody 15%, right? Somebody 10%. But most of these gains occurred on 40 days out of basically 1 to 6 days. The stock markets were open for business during those 5 years. So basically, I mean, most of the gain only happened on the 40 days, right? Or out of all the days on which the market was open. So let's say if you were out on these key 40 days on which most of the gain happened, then I mean, basically you were trying to time the market, trying to avoid the next correction, right? Then your 26% CAGR return would be reduced to just 4.3%, right? If you're out for this 40 days out of the market. So that's the issue with, I mean, being in cash always, right? You're also losing money, right? You are thinking that you're not losing money, but you're actually losing money. Because if you're in the market and the stock price rises, you are gaining the money. But if you're in cash, you're actually losing the money if you see. So why market timing does not work? I will give the reasons here. Of course, the transaction costs and tax is one of them. So whenever you buy and sell a stock, you have to pay something to the broker most of the time. And also, okay, let's say even if your brokerage is free, let's say, if you're holding for 2 3 days, let's say brokerage is free, let's say. Then also you have to pay short-term taxes, right? At 15% every year, right? In every trade, you have to pay 15% on the profit. But if you are for more than 1 year, you actually pay 10% and also you save. So basically if your profits are above 1 lakh, then only you pay 10%. If the profit is below 1 lakh, you do not pay any tax. See this benefit also. And also I gave you all the examples that some good days in the stock market can make all the difference. You saw there, right? How 10, 14, 50 days, right? They made all the difference. So if you're out of stocks on those crucial days, then you have like, I mean, returns would have been very bad if you had seen there, right? And another, I told you, being in cash when the market is moving up. So you're losing money actually. So when you're in cash, let's say a lot of cash, I'm not telling that being in cash is bad. So, okay, maybe you can keep 5 to 10% of your portfolio in cash. It's okay. But keeping 20%, 30%, 40% of your portfolio in cash, and let's say, I mean, you are waiting for the crash of the market, but market keeps moving up, then you're actually losing money, right? Because market is going up, right? And you are in cash. So market has gone up 10%. And you are still, I mean, cash, right? Let's say you are deploying, let's say, okay, the market moved by 20%. And after moving to 20%, it crashed by 5%. Now you're deploying your money at this crash of 5%. But the markets are already moved 20%, right? That gain you missed, right? You should also think like this. And okay, another logic is that, okay, let's say stock crashed by 20%. Now you think of putting all your cash here. You think that, okay, 20% crash has happened, right? Let me put all my money here, right? Now, what happens if the crash keeps on happening from 20 to 30? I mean, after 20%, let's say what happened for 3, 4 days, it was moving up. So you thought that, okay, now market will recover. Let me put the money. No, but what happens? Let's say after 4 days, again market starts crashing. Some bad news came and market starts crashing. Now what do you do? I mean, it crashed. I mean, I told you 2008 crash. It crashed at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, right? So you do not have cash to deploy also, right? You have deployed all the cash there, right? And I mean, you have to do it at the once, right? That's the wrong approach, right? It's better to average it down and follow the SIP approach. Okay, this is a very good chart that I saw. So here, if you see, there are some important numbers here. So average gain in a bull market is 158%. That's what you gain average in the bull market. And what is the average length of bull market? It's 1,742 days. So this is for US market, but Indian market also mostly resembles the US market in most of the time. Average loss in bear market is 33%. See the gain. See the gain in bull market is 158%. In average loss in the bear market is only 33%. Not only, but it's less compared to the gains that you are getting. Average length of the bear market is around close to 1 year, right? So you see the difference, right, in the length of bear market and bull market, everything right here. And the below chart is actually quite interesting. So here, if you see, they have like from which year? I'm not sure from which year they have. Okay, it's from 50. I mean, I think it is from year 1957 to 2019, right? Over a long, this much long term, they have given the chart here. And like, okay, green is like the bull market and red is like your bear market. So if you see here, and also if you see this data here, this is the number of days, like 49.7 days for which bull market happened, and how much you gained in this bull market, 86%. After this, there was a bear market for only 6 days, and the crash was minus 27%. But again, after this bear market, for 43 days, the bull market was there, and the gains were 79%, 80%, right? So you keep on, so you see that the trend you see, right? So you, okay, of course, the crash happens, you cannot avoid that. But in crash happens, okay, it happens 20, 30%, but the market also recovers very fast. And the average gain in bull market is greater than, I mean, the loss that you make in a bear market, you will easily recover that in the next bull market. Because you see the length of bull market is always greater than the length of bear market. Okay, maybe if you see some more data here. Okay, if you see here, see this one. I think if you see here, it was like from here to here. I mean, there was a bull market for 60 days and you got around 200% return. After that, a bear market came, and I think in just 3 days, the crash was 33%, right? Now, you would have been very fearful now, right? The 3 days, 33% crash happened. What should I do? But see what after this, what happened, right? Next bull market was for 147 days, and the returns you made were 500 plus, right? I mean, if you were trying to time the market here, surely you would have made less than this, I'm sure. Okay, and coming to, okay, this was in 90s. Okay, this crash, 2001 crash, I think this is a dot-com bubble crash. In this, like, market, in 17 days, the market went down by 37%. But you see the gain after this, what happened, right? In 62 days, 96% gain. And let's come to 2008 crash. This was one of the, I mean, very big crash. In 13 days, US market crashed by 50%. Indian market crashed by 60%. But see the next bull market that happened after 2018, 2008 to almost, I mean, it's still there. I mean, the crash happened, but you have recovered, right? So see this bull market that happened, right? From 8 to almost 18, 19, right? And how much, almost you made 400% return in this. Right? So that's why you get the point that I'm telling right from here. So understand this 3-4 point, understand this if you're a long-term investor, understand these points. And these are mostly from Peter Lynch's books. Like, stocks aren't lottery tickets. Behind every stock, there is a company. Now, if the company does well over the time, stocks do well. Right? So wars will come, recessions will come, some issues will keep on coming in the economy. Right? You cannot avoid that. They will be coming. You don't have any, like, I mean, you cannot prevent them. Right? You do not. you cannot do that. You should understand what the stocks are, right? Behind every stocks, there is a company. If that company makes good profits, your stock does well. If the company does not make good profit over the long term, the stock does not do well. And in the stock market, the most important organ is the stomach, right? Stomach, and it's not the brain, right? That means, patience is the key in the stock market, not your brain, right? If brain was the main thing that should be used in the stock market, then all the mathematicians and all the PhD holders, right? They would have made great returns in the stock market, right? It's not so, right? Everybody, if you are just a 10th pass or if you just know basic maths, right? Then also you can invest in the stock market and you can make good returns. It's not that you need a BTech degree or PhD or something to um, be very good in the stock market. And most people have lost money waiting for corrections and anticipating corrections than in the actual correction itself. So in the actual corrections, the correction happened 30%, but you would have lost mostly 40%, 50% more than this in most of the times. And this is my view that everyone guesses, like, okay, they see some data and they try to guess on this, like, okay, this will happen. But market does not work that way. If market would have worked that way, everybody would have started timing the market and made a lot of gains. But you do not see a lot of people who have like grown wealthier by timing the markets. You see Warren Buffett, right? And many other investors you will see, Peter Lynch, Warren Buffett, all of this, Philip Fisher, right? All of this were of the opinion that they invested for the long term, right? That's where they made all of the money, and they have portfolio of billions now. And in guessing what happens, okay, out of 10 times, you will correct 2 times. Okay, this 2 times you will make money. But when you are wrong 8 times, you lose a lot of money there. And overall returns, if you see, again, are very bad. That's what happens when you try to guess it. And I discussed about this before, right? Even you guess that the market will crash or rise, but by how much? Again, when you will enter, again, when you will sell. So these all questions will keep on your mind, and you will surely make mistakes. When some crash happened by 10%, you will sell the stocks, but next day you see that stocks have risen by 5%, right? So this will keep on happening in the stock market. Then the question is, like, what should I do as a long-term investor? Now think about this. You have bought some stocks, you have some stocks. Then you would have bought that by analyzing the stock. So you have, let's say, 10 reasons because you bought the stock. So I do normally this, right? I have some reasons that I bought this stock. You also should have, right, some reasons why you bought this stock for long term. Now think about this. Some crash happened. Now think, are those X reasons that you initially thought, are those reasons still valid? Are those reasons still apply? In case they apply, so why are you worrying about the crash? Buy it in, just average it, buy it in SIP, buy it SIP in every month, like maybe 5,000, put 5,000 in the stocks every month, right? But let's say the answer is no, maybe because of crash. If you think that, okay, just example of airline stocks or something, right? Like which are affected by COVID. Now you think that like they may be impacted for long term, right? If you think about this, like, now, see, these are cyclical stocks, right? And of course, they are the worst, affected by every crash. So in this case, maybe, so for me, I do not buy any cyclical stocks like this, right? Metal stock, airlines, I do not buy those because in those you have to always ride the cycle, right? When the market is booming, that's great. These stocks do great. When the market crashes, they crash a lot, and making decisions is very tough for me in those cases. So I do not take risk with those. But the best way is, I always think, is to watch some quarterly results, like watch out for the news for 2, 3, 4 months, and then take a decision. It's okay. You will lose some money. It's okay because if you have 20 stocks, you are going to lose money on 5 to 6 stocks, right? You cannot make money on all the 20 stocks. You will lose some money in the stock market. It's okay. If the stock is, you think those X reasons are not valid now, sell the stock and exit the stock. Buy some other stock on which some other X reasons are valid. It's okay. So timing the market is always important than timing the market. Remember this point. This will help you a lot. And crashes will come and go. They will come and go, but good companies will always survive. I will give you some examples here. This is a chart of one of the popular stocks in India, HDFC Bank. So in 2008 crash, even HDFC Bank, right? This was one of the, biggest company in India. Even this was affected. And I think the stock price for it, if you see it's here, 2008 crash. So here you do not see much dip, but it was like high dip. So it fell almost by 50%, 55% during this crash, right? But let's say, I mean, okay, let's say if you would have even bought this stock at this peak also, I think the peak price, I don't know, maybe something like 100 something it was there. If you would have bought this stock at this peak price, still you would have made a lot of money in this stock, right? Without timing. I mean, by mistake, let's say you put you should not do actually this. You should normally SIP, but let's say that you were doing SIP here mostly, let's say, right? Even in that case, you would have made a lot of money in this stock, right? I told you, right? Crashes, wars, recessions, this will come and go, right? But good companies will always survive. And this is one example that I find interesting. Actually, I was trying to search some other very good chart for this. So this is the actually stock chart for Apple stock, which actually sells iPhone and Mac. So you see the dips there, right? I mean, as I read, like the dips has been like 50%, 40% for Apple. Like it has been happening multiple times, 10, 12 times it has happened for it, right? Now you can see here, right? There was a dip here, again another dip here, another dip here, another dip here, another dip here. But still over a long term, if you see, right? Even if you have bought here at 100 in 2015 maybe or 14, I do not know, some year here, still would have made 4 times return now, right? I mean, even if you have bought at peak here, this is around 2017, I think, maybe 18, 17. This was around 200 something, it's 400 now. Still would have made good money, right? Think about this, right? Even buying at peak is giving you good money in good stocks. But you should be there for the long term. In short term, of course, it's not guaranteed that, okay, in 2, 3 years it will recover. Some stocks takes time, they recover in 3, 4 years. Some recover very quickly in just 4, 5 months. For different stocks, it's different. Yeah, I think that's all for this video. And I hope you would have understood my point right here, that in long-term investment, it's better to be in the market than timing the market always, right? This point that I mentioned here. Timing the market is more important than timing the market. Always remember this point and keep on doing SIP. And if you think that your some stocks are affected a lot, okay, wait for some results. Let's say how much impact is there. Because I see that many of the stocks, when the lockdown happened, like everything was locked down, right? There was no vehicles running, everything. So there was sales zero in 1 month, right? Now, let's say if you had feared that, okay, now sales is zero and you have sold all those stocks, but all those stocks recovered after that, right? They almost doubled from their, I mean, lows that happened. They all recovered. And if you see the June numbers, I think for their sales, it's okay. They have like 20, 30% fall from last year. Of course, that will be there, but they are selling good bikes and good number of cars this year. Again, I mean, Mahindra and Mahindra is selling good amount of tractors. It's actually greater than the last year June numbers, actually 3 or 4% up than last year June numbers. When Maruti is selling cars, it's actually fallen by 30, 40%, but still the numbers are improving. And I think that going month by month, they should improve. Yeah, so that's all for this video. And if you like the content, do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.